On the beaches of San Francisco, a fight is brewing. America's home to 11 million illegal immigrants, and Donald Trump wants them out.
We will break the cycle of amnesty and illegal immigration. We will break the cycle.
We are proud, thank God we live in San Francisco and not other places in the country. We are going to protect our immigrants. What he is doing is un-American.
San Francisco, a so-called sanctuary city where officials protect illegal migrants from being deported. A city now under siege. San Francisco ushers in the year of the rooster. Diversity is in this city's DNA. 1 in 5 residents is ethnic Chinese. A third of the population was born overseas. And it's famous for its counterculture, from the 60s flower power to gay liberation in the 70s. Pretty much everyone is welcome here.
This parade is all about luck and good fortune. But 2017 is shaping up to not be a good year for tens of thousands of this city's undocumented migrants, most of them from Latin America. Donald Trump calls them illegal aliens. He wants them to be deported. For many of them, the only thing stopping them from being kicked out of America is the sanctuary and protection that this city provides.
Democrat Mayor Edwin Lee is the son of Chinese migrants. He's proud to call San Francisco a sanctuary city. That means so-called undocumented immigrants can openly work, go to school, raise families, protected by City Hall and local police, and in open defiance of Washington.
You know, I think sanctuary cities is about us being ourselves and who we are and respecting everybody. That's what we do here in San Francisco. It means safer communities, it means diverse communities, it means welcome communities.
It also means Mayor Lee is out of step with many Americans beyond his city.
Thank you, Mayor Lee.
There are about 11 million undocumented migrants in America right now. Some crossed the border illegally, others overstayed their visas. Around 800,000 have criminal convictions. Less than a week into his presidency, Republican Donald Trump declared criminal illegals the target of a sweeping crackdown.
The day is over when they can stay in our country and wreak havoc. We are going to get them out, and we're going to get them out fast.
I joined the military from 2001 to 2006. I was in Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom, and it is honorable, and now I'm very proud to say that I served in the time of need of this country. I enlisted for another 4 years, and
for Joaquin Sotelo, home is now this halfway house, a shelter for war veterans damaged by life.
It's standing the watch in the Gulf.
Did you enjoy it though, your time in the Navy?
Every single minute of it.
He served under the US flag, but he's not a citizen.
It's a great experience.
His mother brought him to the US illegally from Mexico when he was 8. Raised on food stamps, he wanted to give something back to America. But after leaving the Navy, Joaquin's life unravelled.
I was using alcohol and using drugs, and I wasn't stable mentally nor physically. And I caught this domestic violence. I was a very aggressive person. I was very in denial. It's a drug abuse resistance education.
That landed him a 3-year prison sentence. After early release for good behaviour, he was held in immigration detention for another 16 months and marked for deportation. Joaquin was released again 4 weeks ago on a bond the government is now trying to revoke.
Well, this is my family. This is my daughter. This is my other daughter, and this is my little boy.
And how old are they now?
Jesus, he's 6. Jamila is 8, and Hennessy is 9.
Joaquin's kids were all born in America. They're US citizens. He says he's now on good terms with their mother, but by choice. He hasn't seen them now for 5 years.
Right now, I have the opportunity to go out there and hug them and be with them. But I think I'm gonna make things worse when I have to leave again. So it's very difficult. I have to make a choice. And I cannot be selfish. So I don't want to go out there and promise them that it's going to be forever when I have that ghost of deportation behind me.
Raids for immigrants continue to sweep the country. A wave of fear and panic is gripping undocumented workers, many terrified that they'll be rounded up next and deported.
Federal Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers, known as ICE agents, have stepped up raids across the country. Arrests occurred under the Obama administration too, but at the urging of their new president, the tempo's increased. Under Trump's order, millions of illegals who don't have criminal records are also fair game. Hundreds of counties, towns and cities have declared varying forms of sanctuary protection. ICE targets them regardless. So far, ICE is notably absent from San Francisco, which has become the de facto capital of the sanctuary movement. One thing you notice about San Francisco is there's a real sense of fear among the migrant community. I've spoken to a lot of immigrants, some undocumented, some even have temporary visas that allow them to stay, and most of them are far too terrified to speak on camera. There's a real sense that they're retreating back into the shadows. A lot of them are watching the arrests that are going on across the country and feel that here in San Francisco, they're living in the eye of the cyclone. San Francisco was one of the first American cities to declare sanctuary protection back in the 1980s.
Hola Brian, buenas tardes, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Here at the Caracen Support Centre, 22-year-old Brian from Honduras is one of the few willing to give his name and tell his story. He's living here illegally and alone. In the last 3 years, he's been deported 8 times, but keeps coming back.
¿Ya quieres pasar? Okay.
Tengo a mi mamá y 2 hermanas allá y pues están bien ellas, gracias a Dios. Con lo poco que yo trabajo, yo les puedo ayudar a ella económicamente, a mis hermanas en su estudio y en la comida con mi mamá y todo.
¿Y cómo le fue la última vez?
Bien.
Okay.
This tattoo removal program is intended to make it easier to find work in the US. But for those unlucky enough to get deported, it may just save their lives. Back in Central America, all ink is assumed to be gang-related, a potential death sentence.
Son nombres de mi familia,
Names of people in my family.
una foto de mi papá,
Has a picture of my dad.
porque en mi país hay muchos problemas con la policía y con las pandillas. Lo discriminan a uno por andar tatuajes. Aunque uno sea buena persona, piensan ellos mal de uno.
Concerned that they might get deported, and in a lot of countries it's really unsafe to have tattoos, so we have a lot of people that we expedite so that we can try to remove tattoos in the event that they get deported, that they won't be targeted by police. Tenemos otro ahí, ¿verdad?
Todo ha estado bien, pero ahorita con el nuevo presidente pues no se sabe qué va a pasar y pues lo que quiero es terminar de quitarme mis tatuajes por si me toca regresar a mi país antes de lo que tengo previsto. Pues ya irme preparado.
The session over, he heads back out to take his chances on the streets.
Thank you.
San Francisco's a compact, crowded blend of poverty and privilege, soaring house prices and social activism. A huge homeless population shares the city with a burgeoning tech industry middle class. Added to this mix are 35,000 undocumented migrants. In the urban sprawl beyond the city limits are up to 500,000 more so-called illegals.
It used to be Italian, Irish, working class. In the 60s, 70s, it became more Mexican. And then during the 80s, 90s, with the wars in Central America, it became more Central American. This has been very popular. This is made in the USA with soy-based inks.
Nancy Shiraga came to the US legally from Mexico when she was just a kid. Now her Mission District store does a roaring trade in anti-Trump paraphernalia.
Well, definitely, I don't mean to brag, but I do think I have the best Trump piñata.
It's very lifelike.
Yes, and this one really looks like Trump. We have different price ranges.
Are they quite popular?
Very popular, yes. These are bestsellers. Yes.
Before the US formally annexed California in 1848, this region was actually part of Mexico.
And I'll tell you, the bestseller is Make America Mexico Again.
Undocumented migrants comprise a staggering 10% of California's labour force.
Illegal immigration costs our country more than $113 billion a year. And this is what we get. Most illegal immigrants are lower-skilled workers with less education who compete directly against vulnerable American workers, and that these illegal workers draw much more out from the system than they can ever possibly pay back.
Well, all you have to do is go into any restaurant, and if you go to the kitchen, the dishwasher, the cooks, the people picking your fruit, the people working the agriculture, that's all, the whole economy really is founded on undocumented cheap labor. So I think that it's not just as simple as saying you need to come here legally and you need to go back home. You know, if that were the reality, then you need to be willing to give up the cheap labor, and I don't think the U.S. is really willing to do that.
Block funding for sanctuary cities. We block the funding. No more funding. Cities that refuse to cooperate with federal authorities will not receive taxpayer dollars.
For San Francisco's Mayor Lee, The threat of losing more than $1 billion a year in federal funding only deepens his resolve. Is that a big amount of money for you?
Well, of course it is. It could be in the billions of dollars. But we have to also not be afraid of those fights. I think America has changed. I think Mr. Trump wants to just preserve a certain type of America in his mind. I believe America, particularly in the cities that I live in, New York, Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, has changed. And I think it's been a lot more diverse than he believes it is.
How are you feeling about the fight you've got on your hands?
Well, we're ready. We have to fight. I get up every morning and, I'm always having to challenge myself about who I'm going to help today. But it's unfortunate that we have to fight our own federal administration in order to have the voice of America be heard. And I think the better president would be someone who would listen to what's happening in other cities across the country.
Across town, the Embarcadero district symbolises the multicultural, tolerant image this city promotes. But a couple of years ago, something happened here that critics say exposed deep flaws in the sanctuary system. This is the scene of one of the most significant events in this entire debate. In July 2015, Kate Steinle, a 32-year-old San Francisco resident, was walking along here with her father when she was hit in the back by a bullet that ricocheted off the pier. She died in hospital a few hours later. Police say the man that was holding the gun was Juan Francisco Lopez Sanchez, a Mexican immigrant who'd been deported from the United States 5 times before. In fact, he'd been picked up only a few months earlier on a drug charge, but because of San Francisco's sanctuary ordinance, he wasn't handed over to immigration officials. This case became a major focal point of President Donald Trump's campaign. He says that Kate Steinle could still be alive if this country had stricter immigration laws.
The undocumented immigrant accused of shooting a San Francisco woman at Pier 14 will stand trial for murder.
He did not have the gun prior to picking it up wrapped up.
On my first day in office, I am also going to ask Congress to pass Kate's Law, named for Kate Steinle, to ensure that criminal aliens convicted of illegal reentry receive strong, mandatory minimum sentences. Strong. And then we get them out.
Kate Steinle was not the first casualty. Don Rosenberg is the grieving father of another victim. A passionate opponent of sanctuary cities, his determination to be heard resulted in him being ejected from an immigration enforcement hearing in Washington.
My son was killed by an illegal alien in 2010.
His son died on the streets of San Francisco. This is the first time Don Rosenberg's been to the street corner where a Honduran immigrant killed his son Drew.
Probably good to get it out of the way. But I don't know. And it doesn't look like anything bad should have happened.
Drew was 25. He'd moved here to go to university and was loving it. Riding his motorbike through this intersection, he was hit by Roberto Gallo, who'd entered the US illegally.
And he hit Drew, and Drew flew over his motorcycle, or flew over the front of the car. Drew's helmet had come off and wedged under one of his tires, so he stopped and backed up, driving over him a second time. We didn't deal with many...
Gallo had been pulled over by local police for unlicensed driving just months before the accident. it didn't stop him from getting back behind the wheel.
He was protected by the city because he was caught driving without a license, and instead of following the law, they did the exact opposite. Oh, no problem, go ahead, you can drive. We're not going to enforce that law. And he kept driving, and then killed Drew.
California's since issued more than 800,000 driving licences to undocumented migrants. The theory is they'll drive anyway, but will be safer on the roads if tested. A lifelong Democrat, Don feels ignored by his party and feels he has no choice but to turn to Trump.
To keep seeing the same thing happening day after day after day and have our fucking government, up until maybe now, saying, oh, we got to get these people, put them on a pathway to citizenship. They're wonderful. They don't do anything wrong. They don't commit any crimes.
Drew's killer served just 43 days of a 6-month sentence for vehicular manslaughter and was eventually deported.
The mayor, the police chief, the board of supervisors, city councilmen, all belong in jail for the rest of their lives. Because it's not just Drew. They have harmed and killed so many people because of their policies.
Across the bay in Oakland, another sanctuary city, it's fight night. In this Democrat stronghold, this is a rare gathering of Trump supporters.
In my opinion, using the word, undocumented immigrants is just a way of saying illegal immigrants. So, I mean, if they're illegally here, I don't know why we would say, give them sanctuary.
TV wrestling has tapped America's love of entertainment, sport, and red-blooded patriotism.
We're all kids tonight. Give Donald Trump a chance.
A decade before Donald Trump was president, he made a name for himself in the ring. Taking on fellow billionaire wrestling impresario Vince McMahon, the performance helped win over those Trump calls the forgotten men and women of America. Their bond strengthened recently when Trump appointed Vince's wife, Linda McMahon, to run the Small Business Administration. As for the fans, they love what Donald Trump's doing now and share his concerns on immigration.
I think it's a great thing, to have order in a country, because I wouldn't expect, somebody like me to go over to Australia and demand to be a citizen without doing paperwork or anything. So I think it's good to have rules and to abide by the rules, and I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to be safe and wanting to protect our children and things like that.
Over that hill over there is more the Latino part of town, which it's probably more like 60 to 70% Latino, although...
Professor Bill Ong Hing's been working in immigration law here for more than 40 years. Back in the 80s, he helped draft San Francisco's sanctuary ordinance.
For example, it would be a violation of the sanctuary ordinance if a police officer stopped someone for running a red light and the police officer somehow finds out that the person's undocumented. It would be a violation of the sanctuary ordinance to call up immigration and say, hey, I have an undocumented person here. What sanctuary city is not, it's not going to result in the San Francisco police standing guard at the border of San Francisco and battling the ICE, the immigration enforcement officials, and keeping them restrained from coming into the city. That's not going to happen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
San Francisco's police, upholders of the sanctuary city policy, turn out for the annual Medal of Valor ceremony.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner...
Professor Bill Hing's also here. He's just been appointed to the city's Civilian Police Commission, which has the power to fire everyone from the beat cops up to the chief, who's firmly on message.
So you shouldn't be worried about, getting deported or us even questioning your immigration status because we are a sanctuary city.
ICE's job is much easier in cities where they have backup from local police. That's not happening here. ICE officers are stretched thin. There are only 5,000 nationwide. Donald Trump has ordered 10,000 more be recruited. He's also ordered local cops be deputised to become immigration agents, a request San Francisco refuses.
Well, I'm so happy.
Our local role is not to enforce immigration laws, is to enforce the law. So I wouldn't say we're not on the same page, we just have different roles.
Say it loud, say it clear, refugees are welcome here. Say it loud, say it clear, refugees are welcome here. Say it loud, say it clear, refugees are welcome here.
We are struggling.
It's a big day for Joaquin Sotelo down at City Hall. Out of the shadows and into the limelight.
I am now facing deportation, even though I am a United States Navy veteran who has gone before to fight freedom for all of us.
He's lonely, vulnerable, but prepared to go down fighting.
God bless Donald Trump. God bless Donald Trump. God bless America.
God bless. Go away.
The City Council's considering the creation of a legal defence unit to protect immigrants from deportation. Joaquin wants to share his story.
I am a United States Navy veteran, and I was there to see the faces of many, many other veterans and many other undocumented people that were there with me. It's not just my family back, but the thing I went and fought for the most, my freedom. My right to live on this free country that I went and fought for, that many of us went before others to fight for.
America's so-called sanctuary cities are under threat like never before. The days of refuge may soon be over.
Creí que tu vida era mía.
The city has to get ready for ICE operations at different places of employment in particular. The community's got to be prepared for that to happen, definitely.
No matter what we do, we'll never stop every person to sneak into this country illegally. But we're helping them. We're supporting them. Once they get here and they commit a crime, we're protecting them. So that's a story. That's a story that needs to be told.
Y alegría en mi vivir.
I live in fear every day of my life. Every time I walk out, I'm walking on eggshells. I'll be honest with you. Even if I get deported, this is my land. This is my home. This is what I went and fought for. I'm gonna come right back. And I'm gonna jump that border. As long as it takes. They could either throw me in prison because I did that, but this is my land. This is what I went and fought for. I deserve to be here.
Que tu vida era mía. Y que tú me querías como yo te quiero a ti, como yo te quiero a ti.